For over half a century, there's only been one place that has solely focused on healthy lifestyles and recreation for the people of Mount Airy and its surrounding communities. Led by different people and groups at different times, but always with an eye fixed towards service to the community. It is the heart of the foothills. Of course we mean the Reeves Community Center. Barbara Jones has been involved with the Reeves Community Center for decades as a client. Now as city manager, she helps guide the growth and direction of the center.
I guess one of my first really good memories of Reeves Community Center was when my son was in summer camp there, and he was so excited when I picked him up one evening because he said he had caught a fish that day. They had gone fishing, and he was just so excited and beaming, and oh mom, I've caught my fish. So that always comes to my mind. It was a happy moment for him, and of course as a mom it was a happy moment for me. One thing I would like to read to you, if I may, this is a quote that was found from Mayor Frank Carter back in 1951 when Reeves Community Center broke ground. And Frank Carter said, "The center will be a milestone in our progress towards a better Mount Airy." And I think pretty much that sums up what Reeves Community Center was founded for and what we're still about.
Richard Vaughn served the center over many years in leadership positions through difficult times. Here he talks about some of the early challenges that the center faced.
Well, I think I became a member of the board when I was 29 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and then I became chairman a couple of years later, and then at that time, some of the original founders or their families were serving on the board, and I know whenever I first came on the board, the community center was in dire straits financially. One of the things that I ran across as I went around the community to solicit funds, some of the industrialists in particular wanted the YMCA to be integrated. And my recollection is that agreement occurred sometime during the summer of whatever year it was, but it was to be effective the next January. I think that was probably the most eventful thing that happened because it brought the community together more so than what it had been in the past, and we did what should have been done. So I'm real pleased to have been involved in that. As I said before, the community center was having financial problems, and we were having to pay the YMCA a fee to be a YMCA, and we didn't have the money to do it. So that's the reason that we were originally dropped the YMCA and became the Reeves Community Center, and I would say today that that didn't turn out all bad, but I mean, as much as I love YMCA's around the country, the way the community centers turned out and the city taking over this part of recreation in Mount Airy has sure made a good, favorable change as far as our recreational facilities are concerned.
Often referred to as the godfather of Reeves, there is no one who embodies the spirit of community and total inclusion that has been the hallmark of the Reeves Community Center better than Terry Pruitt. His leadership spawned generations of young men and women who learn sports, values, and character in athletic endeavors.
When you talk about recreation, the number one thing in recreation is for all. It's for the good athletes who later on to go play on sports teams at school, and actually some of them have played college sports. But recreation is for the kids who walk in the door, no matter what size, no matter what ability, and I've seen many, many of them walk in the door and expand their lives, and some of them became good athletes and later on. I'll tell you what kind of impact Reeves Community Center is. In the early 60s, I was born and raised, went to Mount Airy High School up to 64, and Reeves was the absolute nucleus of recreation. There was nothing else going on in that area in terms of recreation of all sorts. And that picked up people like myself. We grew up here. We went on to high school, played high school sports. To this day, it's the same image as the kids come through here, good, bad, or indifferent in their abilities. It's the nucleus of recreation for the kids in our community, for them to develop. And not only do they develop sports skills, they develop all types of character building skills, such as team sports, sportsmanship, getting along with other kids, and that sort of thing. And what is funny now, from 20 years ago, the girls are as active and as well skilled in athletics in all areas as the boys were all along. So it's nice to see the girls develop, and you turn on TV nowadays and you look at girls softball, and that's a Division I sport, and probably the fastest growing Division I sport is girls softball. So it's come a long way and has developed and made a lot of progress. Some of the heartwarming things are when the mamas bring their kids in here and say, "Terry, you don't remember me." And they'll tell me about an experience that I dealt with them personally and encouraged them, and that means a lot. Recreation should be a part of every single individual's life. And if somebody asks me about recreation from any point, any standard, recreation is just like eating. It's just like going to school, studying your math and your English. It's that important to be a part of your life. I'm not saying you got to be a great athlete or anything else. Reeves Community Center, and all the years of the history of the Reeves Community Center since 1952, established that as a goal, and as far as I'm concerned, they met that goal 100% or better over those past 60 years that it operated in. The biggest thing that I could end my career was, I'd say it's been a blessing and an honor to serve the community of Mount Airy, which is my hometown, and it's certainly been gratifying and rewarding in that sense of the word over the 37 years I've been here.
Kathy Pruitt served as a board member during the period when citizens and industry banded together to help make the modern Reeves Community Center take shape. Kathy is also an aerobics and cycling instructor.
When I served on the board from 1986 to the year 2000, I saw a lot of change and evolution at the community center. A couple things come to mind right away. One was after-school programming. There was a need in the community for that, and so Reeves had to adjust its space to accommodate kids every afternoon after school, and all the needs that came together for that were pretty big and difficult to work out at first. Also, at that time, there was a big increase in adult fitness, and adult fitness had its own needs in terms of cardio equipment, Nautilus resistance equipment, free weight equipment, spinning classes. All these things came together and really put a strain on the building itself to kind of accommodate all of those things. But it held up pretty well, and the staff came together beautifully to make all this happen. Then in 1994, we had a big addition of the indoor pool, and we were fortunate that city and county commissioners came together with seed money, as well as business and industry leaders who provided capital and individuals as well. Reeves, to me, is the definition of community because it does touch so many people in our town. Every age of child has walked through this door for all kinds of classes and recreational teams. We have volunteer coaches who spend a lot of time down here working with kids. We have industry and business leaders who have made a commitment to Reeves, both financially and in ways of encouraging their workers to participate here. Our city and county fathers have seen to it to keep Reeves alive and well, and all of that has been brought together by the staff who continues to be really committed to this place, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of it and to witness it as it's happened.
Bill Stewart is busy. He visits Reeves every day to take advantage of the varied programs available at the center, and has found a new spring in his step.
Well, when I first came to Reeves, I was a young teenager, and Reeves, as I recall, opened in the early 50s. And lots of people who, like myself, were swimming in the creeks around here. We now had a good place to come swimming. I come 5 days a week. I swim 3 days each week, and I go up to the Nautilus room where there's various machines for weightlifting and everything else. And I do that twice a week. And I've got my set up for 1.5 hours each of those days. So it works out great. Keeping that particular schedule, I think, has helped me to my overall health excellent, because I try to do that in the mornings, and I feel a lot more like working on the farm and bush hogging and cutting grass and trees and anything else I need to do. So it's been very beneficial, you know, to keep my health to where I feel like I probably feel like more like age 35 than 73. If you come to Reeves and just walk down the halls, look in the different rooms, you'll see small kids having the times of their lives, and well monitored, very well monitored. And as far as adults go, it doesn't matter if you're, well, of course, a senior is 55 to 70, a super senior is 70 and above. And I have friends over here that just having the times of their life. Best activities to me that I've been involved in the past probably 2 or 3 years is in the swimming program here at Reeves. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I could dog paddle maybe 15 feet if my life depended on it. Now, I spoke to Kathy Klauke, who is in charge of all the aquatics at Reeves. She said, if you'll join my beginner swimming class, in a year's time, I'll have you ready for the senior game swimming competition. Well, that's where I started. And Kathy gave me a nickname. She said, from now on, you're going to be known as Michael Phelps. I said, okay. To make a long story short, a year later, I was in the senior game swimming competition. The most events you could sign up for is 6 events of different strokes. Got gold medals in all 6. I have one last item here, and it involves my granddaughter, only grandchild, lives in Raleigh. And whenever she comes to Mount Airy, she's 5 years old. And whenever she comes to Mount Airy, we come to Reeves. We're swimming, we're down at Riverside Park, climbing, jumping, sliding. We're doing everything that Reeves has to offer for children and for adults, and we have the time of our life. And I hope that, I have hopes that she will continue to be very, very active in sports through her different facilities in Raleigh too.
Isaiah King is an example of how Reeves is a positive influence on the young men and women in our community. As an employee and member, he knows firsthand how important the center can be in one's life.
My first memory of Reeves Community Center is when I was a young child and my mother bringing me here to swim in the pool. I thought it was pretty nice how they had the lifeguards on duty at all times, and how they took breaks, and how they had music playing, and a bunch of people were here and they were nice and kind. My favorite thing at Reeves would be to lift weights because of how I play sports, and it is just very good for me to work on my basketball and my football skills at the same time in the same day. Reeves would be the top 2 of the things I would say if they just moved into Mount Airy, because it's good for your family and it's good for individual. If you want to like to work out, we have the only racquetball room in Surry County, and it has a daycare center, and you can play basketball.